If the court pleases, my name is Anisha Dias, and I appear on behalf of the prosecution. In January of 2020, Kiara Atkinson stabbed Susie Chang with a knife. Through yelling abuse at Susie, the defendant initiated a verbal argument. The two got into a struggle in which Kiara stabbed Susie with a 10-centimeter long knife in her upper right chest. The heinous nature of this crime caused Susie to feel an initial sense of shock and humiliation. This was later followed by a lack of participation in her usual activities due to the view that the world was no longer a safe place. When sentencing the offender, attention must be drawn to Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Sentencing Act 1991, Victoria. The offence was of a disturbing and rather unsettling nature, despite its lack of seriousness in terms of injury to the victim. Moreover, Kiara is culpable of her actions, taking a degree of responsibility and immediately pleading guilty. In addition, the defendant does have a criminal history, with a previous record of committing injury recklessly and common assault. I now turn to the aggravating factors. These include her recidivism, given that she is a repeat offender, and the psychological impact on the victim. Background on the defendant includes her consistent use of methamphetamine, which she was involved with on the day of the incident, and a strong history of drug abuse. Despite addressing her drug issues with a psychiatrist, Kiara still continues to use cannabis. Kiara pleaded guilty to committing injury intentionally, which is a Section 18 offence under the Crimes Act 1958, Victoria. Furthermore, statistics relevant to this offence reveal that 78.6% of offenders are imprisoned, and of those offenders, 32.2% are imprisoned for between 1 to 2 years. The median length of imprisonment for this particular offence is 1.17 years. In regards to the principle of parsimony, the least severe sentencing option must be selected in order to achieve the purposes of punishment. The purpose of punishment for Kiara must be to specifically deter her from committing such offences again. When previously found guilty of her prior offences, Kiara was simply fined. This is clearly not punishment enough to deter Kiara from committing such offences again in the future. And so, I strongly believe that imprisonment is a necessary course of action to be taken. Likewise, due to the vicious nature of this offence, according to the proportionality principle, a maximum term of imprisonment with CCO is proportionate punishment for Kiara. In regards to the parity principle, within the case of Director of Public Prosecutions versus Rongonoy in 2007, Rongonoy is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment for causing injury intentionally. In this particular case, the defendant is of a similar age to Kiara and 20 years old and has committed the same offence. However, due to the nature of his crime, he received a lesser sentence. This case is still relevant to that of Kiara Atkinson's, as it displays the need for imprisonment to ensure adequate punishment occurs. Kiara Atkinson's sentencing serves the purpose of specific deterrence. The offender must be deterred from committing actions of a similar nature or character, which is exactly what this particular sentence is intended to do. In order to accommodate for Kiara's rehabilitation needs, the conditions of the CCO will include regular drug tests, a curfew, and counselling and drug therapy sessions on a weekly basis. These conditions should help Kiara manage her mental health and address her persistent drug issues.